Good morning, people. Making a clip, making a video this morning. This guy, I just found out this guy, Rathbone. This guy is based. He talks about global politics, talks about wars, global politics. And he's an anti-war guy, I think. He explains Russia and Putin. And this is why he's right. So many liberals got it wrong on foreign policy. They just go along with the empire. It's like I see watching a Midas Touch video last night, and it was terrible. It's horrible, folks. Talked about the guy in Midas Touch. He's saying that it was a good thing that Biden brought Sweden and Finland into NATO. That's crazy. And Sweden used to be neutral for all these years, and now they're part of NATO. And it's crazy that they're getting more countries into the NATO and getting Russia more pissed off. And it's getting more escalation. I mean, it's crazy. I don't know what's going to happen when Trump comes in. Hopefully, Mr. Trump said he's going to end the Ukraine war. We'll see. But I don't see that. Mr. Trump is still an imperialist himself. He's going to attack some other countries. That's another story. But this guy explains everything, folks. This guy just found this Mr. Rathbone. This guy looks like he's based. And he's calling out Vaush, because Vaush is one of those so-called anti-war, but there's Russiagate. He's going to explain a lot of stuff, this Rathbone guy.
I don't think that Putin is a rational actor.
Let's do a thought experiment. Let's imagine that Russia entered into a hostile military alliance with, let's say, Panama. And for decades, it began enlisting other countries in Latin America to join its alliance, working its way all the way up to Mexico. And in spite of the United States calling for diplomatic negotiations with Russia for years, in spite of the United States publicly stating its security concerns and that its territorial sovereignty was threatened by the encroachment of this military alliance, in spite of the U.S. stating that Mexico was a red line and would not be tolerated if it were to join a hostile military alliance with Russia, in spite of all of this, Russia categorically rejects every call for negotiation and instead increases its influence in the region. Over the decade, it begins training 100,000 Mexican troops, which essentially bakes the Mexican military into the Russian military chain of command. It starts conducting military intelligence operations within the region. Russia gives billions of dollars in military aid to Mexico every year, and in 2014, the KGB actually coups the government, which was sympathetic to the United States, and installs a pro-Russian government so it can continue what it's doing. Russia even goes so far as to install first-strike nuclear weapons along the U.S. border, capable of obliterating Washington within minutes, and also immobilizing the U.S. capabilities to retaliate. In spite of more calls for diplomatic negotiation, the Kremlin releases a policy statement as late as September 1st, 2022, in which it calls Mexico an enhanced opportunities partner and states that it will continue its military relationship with Mexico, despite the United States once again calling for a diplomatic settlement and negotiations with Russia in December of that same year. So in this current geopolitical situation that I just outlined, if Biden decided to invade Mexico, would this person here be calling Biden an irrational actor? The analogy that I just gave and all the examples that I listed are completely accurate to the present situation, only the roles are reversed. It is America doing these things to Russia. Putin is a criminal, and his invasion is illegal and a war crime, but to say or to paint Putin as a psychopath and an irrational actor is entirely misguided and negligent to geopolitics, to the understanding of power dynamics and world affairs. And it shows an ignorance to history, to the context, and this is...
There you go, folks. He's right. There's a lot of ignorance and nonsense going on.
Typical of American liberals living in the imperial core. None of them ever factor in the effects of U.S. imperialism throughout the world. None of them call attention to what America has done and is doing as the only global hegemon with unbridled and unparalleled power in world history. Unfortunately, the entire issue is a lot more complex than just Putin bad. Hey there.
Thank you. Exactly, folks. That's what they've been saying. We've been saying that for like some of the left. When the rash anti-war left, I say. I've been saying that all along. I used to agree with people like Vosh. Liberals like Vosh. Putin bad, but no, it's complex. I think they're all bad actors, folks. America, Russia. I mean, Putin's he's not a good guy, but still. The Ukraine war and the Ukraine, they're bad actors too in a way, but they're victims also. There are Nazis in the Ukraine, controlling certain parts. In the Crimea, well, not the Crimea, the Donbass area. But yeah, so they're bad actors there, and they're controlling. And you have part of the Zelensky government, the fascists, the Nazis, I should say, or they're probably fascists. But yeah, it's more complex than that. And these liberals get it wrong, folks. Yeah, they're for the empire. They're not anti-war. They're like pro. But I realize that there's Putin's. You have to be mindful of Putin's Putin's propaganda also, Russian propaganda. We have to be mindful of that though. So we can't get into which side is bad or not. We could call it out as it is, actually. We could do both sides. If we call out one side, if one side is bad, we could call it out. We have to be honest. And if the West is bad, you're doing the wrong things, we have to call that out too. But this is what he's right, perfectly right. The liberals get it wrong. Totally wrong. They don't know that they're mixed up on out to lunch on foreign policy. Especially nowadays, the liberals used to be like more back in the day, completely anti-war. Now it's a mixed bag. Liberals are like some are pro, some are like neocons. He says about a killer that the term that a fascist, a liberal can become a fascist. Something like that. He just said it. No, he didn't say it. What did he say? Or something like that. He said on there was another, no, it was this video. I was saying, I can roll it back. He said, let me see what he said that.
In world history. Unfortunately, the entire issue is a lot more complex than just Putin bad. Hey there, this page has done and is doing as the only global hegemon with American liberals living in the imperial core. None of them ever factor in the effects of U.S. imperialism throughout.
It wasn't this video. It was another video I'm thinking of. He said something, a liberal becomes a fascist. That's a term, it's an old saying, I guess. If you cut a liberal open, he's a fascist. And what's going on now? They're chumming up to Trump, these liberals. And that's what's happening now. Anyways, folks, I'm out of here. This video interested. How liberals get it wrong on Putin. I mean, definitely they get it. They get it wrong. Okay, folks, I'm out.